So today we're going to talk about the problem we chose to shine light on, which is injured veterans. So this problem happens on the battlefield with these brave men and women that are fighting for our freedom. The cause of it is fighting in war, and the potential solutions we found were the Wounded Warrior Project, the Fisher House Foundation, United Service Organization, and the Semper Fi Fund. And we chose to do the Wounded Warrior Foundation. So let's break down the problem we chose to bring awareness to. So the problem is wounded veterans returning home. So about 300,000 active duty soldiers are injured annually. Of the veterans returning home, 52,000 are physically injured in military combat, 500,000 are living with psychological wounds, and 320,000 are suffering from brain trauma. So these veterans are disadvantaged. They fight for our freedom over in war, and they come back, but they're not the same person. They have so much hanging over their head from war, and their injuries affect their life very severely, and they're in need of our aid. They return home, like I said, not the same person. They don't have the same resources. They spent countless hours, years over there fighting for our freedoms. So now we're going to look at the analysis of our cause. So the main cause we picked was war, which is an inevitable cause because there's always going to be conflict in our world. And until we find a way to peacefully resolve that, war will always be there with us. Now, most of these injuries occur on duty. Brain trauma, any physical injury, and mental injury can occur on duty also. And they never return the same, like I said. With all these physical and mental illnesses, they return to society disadvantaged with problems they can't solve alone. So now we're going to go into our possible solutions with Rahul.
So before we chose Wounded Warrior, we looked at 4 other organizations that we could possibly choose. So first was obviously the one we chose, which was Wounded Warrior, which is an organization which provides immediate emotional and physical relief to people in the armed forces who return wounded. Our second organization was the Fisher House Foundation, which is an organization that has established a branch of homes where veterans may reside at no cost. This helps veterans get back on their feet and return slowly back to civilian life. A third possible solution is the United Service Organization, which provides forms of entertainment to members of the armed force. It's a long-standing organization. It's based on the concept of providing a feeling of home when veterans are on duty. And our fourth and last organization that we chose was Semper Fi Fund, which provides fiscal aid to families of wounded soldiers post 9/11. And this is actually very similar to Wounded Warrior, but not to the extent that Wounded Warrior Project provides, and that is the reason why we chose it as our organization. So a little bit of background on Wounded Warrior Project. So it was started in 2003 when a group of veterans were inspired by the stories of soldiers who were wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan. Unlike other people who were more interested in providing celebrations and parades, this group of veterans was interested in providing actual physical effort to these wounded warriors to provide mental and physical relief. And they began offering services in non-hospital programs that target managing stress, work towards improving the availability of prosthetics, find jobs for these veterans, and offer programs in sports and other activities in order to provide mental and physical help that happen during service. The Wounded Warrior Project has evolved from a small charity into a large national organization that is at the forefront of helping on combating against the mental and physical damage to veterans.
Now I'm going to tell 2 stories about 2 wounded warriors that were injured in battle, Bill Jones and Manny Collin. Bill Jones, he was wounded in battle. He had PTSD. He was separated from his family when he came back home, and Wounded Warrior Project helped him reconnect with his family. To say a couple quotes that he gave would be, "It was the biggest help for me understanding my PTSD. I was able to meet other people who were similar and experiencing the same things, and I began to trust other people again." He also said, "I began to rebuild my relationship with my kids and rekindle my relationship with my wife for the first time in 10 years. We were no longer experiencing the same marital problems because she understood just how much I was fighting myself. 10 years of suppressing what I didn't want to face. Manny Collin, he had received a Bronze Star, 2 service medals, 6 Army Commendation medals, 4 Army Achievement medals, and 6 Good Conduct medals. He was diagnosed with stage 4 follicular lymphoma and medically retired from the military. Manny then suffered from severe depression and bitterness. He experienced feelings of rage and estrangement, later diagnosed with PTSD. He turned to the Wounded Warrior Project. He was enrolled in combat stress recovery program, where he learned to cope and deal with his PTSD properly. How can Dr. T help with the Wounded Warrior Project? The most efficient way would be donating. Previously, for an NHS project, Anthony donated to the Wounded Warrior Project, and they graciously accepted the gift. This organization is second to none, and Dr. T can rest knowing his donation will properly be put to good use. Another way to support this cause would be volunteering or participating, as some events that precedes go to the Wounded Warrior Project. Some of these events include marathons, basketball games, flag football games, and much more. Some restrictions would include financial and time restrictions. Some may not have the funds to donate to organizations for the time to volunteer in that event.
So, in conclusion, these wounded veterans, they need our help. They're off in battle, fighting for our freedoms, and when they come back, they're different people. They're not the same. It's really hard for them to adapt back to civilian life. And what the Wounded Warrior Project does is provide programs for them to assist that, to aid that. They care about their veterans, and they really want to see them get back into civilian life and live a normal life like all of us. Thanks for listening.